Hey guys, welcome to the Harbor Podcast. I'm the Kino Cowboy, the man with the blood disorder. Got a bloody nose right before we started. Hell yeah, let's start. I'm here with Scott Casher. Oh, sorry, Boston Flasher, my bad. And J Doc. We're talking about the biggest movie of the year so far, Dune.
Dune.
So we were talking, how big do you think the sandworms are when they're born?
I think at least the size of a large tree.
I feel like
Really?
they're the size
That
of
big?
I feel like they're the size of a normal worm on like our planet, but they're left to just like gluttonize and eat everything on the other planet, and they just get insane, size.
yeah,
We don't know
Over, like,
how old
1,000
they
years.
are. We don't know how old a fucking sandworm is.
Oh, I
That's
think they're
true.
hundreds of years old potentially.
So it's like, they're massive.
I think I agree with Casher. I think they lay like thousands of eggs at once, and when they're born, they're the size of a fully grown earthworm here
Yeah.
on. So like foot long tops,
Yeah.
and then they grow over 100 years eating that melange, getting stoned on that spice. And I guess I wonder if they start eating each other. Are there much predators?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wonder how
That's
many
a
are
good-
actively alive on fucking Arrakis.
Well, they always come, always.
Yeah,
So
like but they're like supposed to be like 400 meters. The longest one's like 400 meters long, and like I'm just curious how like what their territories are. If there's or if there's like hundreds of them and they just don't care, and it's like a hive mind or something.
it's interesting. Like they've got all them teefies. So do we think they're like carnivorous? Are they like
No, they
like
eat spice, don't they?
They
but
eat it.
yeah?
I think they
But
just,
it's
I
like, what
think
are the
that's
teeth
just
for
to
then?
sift through all the.
Oh, like a filter feeder kind of situation.
Yeah, it's like worms
the-
don't
get the
actually
sand
digest
out.
dirt; they just eat through it and poop it out.
Yeah,
so
that's
what happens
duh.
whenever the people are eating, like they just go through the digestive tracts and stuff. Are worms able to digest that?
Yeah,
I-
they're still carnivorous.
I don't know. I think if you're wearing Mandalorian armor, you can climb out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously this sandworm has influenced many things over the years,
Yeah, man. Have you seen Beetlejuice?
including and not limited to SpongeBob and Breath of the Wild, maybe with the shit in the desert when you have to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Trimmers.
Trimmers.
Yeah, blatantly.
I saw some people coming out
I
of this
love
movie.
Trimmers.
Some of these people, general audiences coming out of the movie and being like, "Wow, another Star Wars ripoff." I'm like, dude. And
No, no.
Come on.
For
Dune-
those of you who don't know, the novel was written in 1965 and obviously influenced George Lucas. So there you go.
It influenced everything, and that's
Yeah.
one thing. I've been like rewatching interview, and I've only read the first book when I was 15. Like 13 years ago.
God, I couldn't imagine reading it at 15.
Yeah, it was well, you're not as smart as me, so the and just watching interviews with Frank Herbert and stuff. And I've read a lot of science fiction more than any other genre and a lot of the classics. Frank Herbert is a dang genius, or what? Like for sure, his ability to fuse not just these different sciences, but also these different social sciences and philosophical contexts into a completely original, weird, just bizarre, genre-defying and also genre-defining epic. It's really nothing short of remarkable.
He created desert punk style sci-fi. It's fucking cool.
Well,
I was reading-
even the fact, we could sit here and talk about the plot of the movie, and I guess we'll get to that in a second. One thing though about this, I mean, even something that makes it so different from science fiction, I don't know if they really didn't mention this explicitly in the movie. There are no computers in the Dune universe.
Yeah, no, I was reading about that just before we got on here. I was literally about to mention that. I think.
Yeah.
That's and that alone for science fiction is like how.
So there are
That's-
computers, but they got into like a huge like war right before the start of Dune.
The
like,
Butlerian Jihad. it's
Yeah,
called.
that shit was so like I literally was reading into that right before this. I was
And
like, man, that's so
one of the kind of commandments they have is thou shalt not corrupt the human soul or something like that.
so crazy.
Basically, it's a sci-fi version of thou not shalt make unto thee a graven image. It's basically you cannot
What's that
make
from?
artificial intelligence,
Wow.
which is why they need the spice to mutate people and turn them into human computers to navigate space and do all the computing that they need. Because you see the what's his name? There's no really delicate way to say this. The light skinned mixed race guy at the beginning, who's kind of like one of the
the dude.
heads.
I know what you're talking about. The real. I thought it was James Earl Jones for a second.
No.
Racist.
It's through Fear Hawat, played by Stephen Mahinckley Henderson. You see him while the Emperor's people are coming to talk to the Atreides and give them control of the Dune planet. He does his eyes roll back and he's like does a calculation real quick.
Yeah,
that's really all the hint they give you to say that the reason spice even exists as a substance is to mutate people into computers, which with some people, such as Paul Atreides, it gives them precognition as well.
Man, would you guys snort a fat line of spice?
Yeah, if we were taken to another world, yeah, I'd probably try it once.
Once or twice, dude.
Do you want to know your future?
Oh, here's the thing. He has premonitions, but they go different ways, you know.
Also,
don't
the Freemans all use spice as like a religious ceremonial like drug, like as like
they're all on spice, and they live in the environment, so they're just exposed to it constantly anyway.
I want them blue eyes, bro. I want everybody to know I'm a spice addict.
You get those injections.
That'd be crazy if like everybody who smoked crack got like green eyes, so we knew immediately who was smoking crack.
People are already just like glowing green eyes.
I came to this movie or this franchise, I guess, when I was watching through David Lynch's filmography years ago, and this is easily my least favorite David Lynch film from 1984. It took me I had to watch it in 3 parts because it was that much of a slog for me personally. I'm sure I could get more enjoyment out of it now, but obviously he disowned the film, and I can see why, because the studio was a pain in the ass, and obviously it's hard to adapt Dune into a 2.5-hour movie, and that's why this one is part 1, which is controversial for a lot of people, but I like that we got all the big world building out of the way, and it's like I was cool to dive in on it. So
I also felt like the pacing really worked. Like it didn't feel like a long movie.
No.
Which is so funny because they fit less content into it than the David Lynch 1984 version, but it somehow felt so much more fleshed out and complete and rapid.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes if the pacing's off, like I'll genuinely get bored and end up falling asleep in a movie theater.
Yeah, who would do that?
Didn't happen for me this time. I say specifically for me.
Anyone who would do that.
Yeah. I did feel almost exhausted by the end of this movie, but not in a bad way. Just because you're on this journey.
Yeah.
And again, as someone who knew everything that was going to happen because they read it, just being on this journey, it's almost exhausting. And then also, I think with me, there's a point of I know this scene is coming up, and I kind of want to get to. I'm like, I wonder how they're going to portray this, or if this is going to happen, or da da da. So I get, and I also get that with movies and with books that I'm reading. I almost get exhausted because I'm so eager to get to the end of it that I'm almost exhausted by the end of it. But I mean that as the compliment, because that's just how immersed I was. I was immersed from this. And Denis Villneauve,
Villeneuve.
Booger Eater.
Villeneuve.
He obviously directed Arrival, Blade Runner 2049, and
Prisoners, which I need to watch.
Prisoners is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I heard it's good. I mean, I love Arrival and Blade Runner 2049. And Arrival is based on a short story by Ted Chiang, who's one of the greatest contemporary sci-fi authors. So he clearly has a deep love and connection with the genre. And the love and respect for Frank Herbert just oozes out of every frame in this movie, which I haven't seen Lynch's version, but I'm sure just studio interference, it just wasn't there. But I don't. Do you think Lynch was even that big of a fan of Dune, or was it just?
No, he was a fan.
Okay.
Good. No, he definitely set out originally to make something cool, but
but
we just didn't really have the technology. Like some of the creature shit was cool, and I liked the special effects. And I liked Kyle MacLachlan as Paul.
Classic.
Good choice.
But this movie,
you know,
I was drawn in from the first frame And when I say the first frame, I mean the black screen that just has music droning.
Yeah.
I can't even explain why. I think it's just so perfectly and succinctly sets the tone of it also sets the tone of this is going to be a subtle movie, as subtle as you can be with giant sandworms and stuff.
Not only that, but it also sets it apart from all the other crap that's been put out in the last few years, like big movie wise. It's just like a little thing. And I heard Sumner kind of do like a ooh under his breath, like started. I was like, yeah, like immediately. And the best thing about this movie is that it was an event. It was something everyone's gonna go see, a big epic. It filled the void in my heart that I wanted from like shit like Rise of Skywalker or anything like that, like a big event movie that is classy,
that's not Marvel,
and respectable art.
It feels to me like the most similar comparison I can remember is like Lord of the Rings, like a beautiful, well done movie that represents a well respected classic that is done so well. I feel like I'm going to watch this movie for years to come and
I agree.
not get tired of it.
I was having the same comparisons when I was in theater. I was like, man, this does feel like the start of a new like trilogy or however many movies that's going to be timeless.
At least 2. I haven't read past first book, so I don't know. It gets weird. Dune starts weird and it gets weird.
I have the second book right here. I haven't read it yet, but I was like,
I think I'm good on reading them.
Maybe it's time.
I kind of want to read them now, but I just have so much. I have so much. Other stuff
I'll deep dive on their Wikipedia page.
There you go.
I'm speaking of what?
I was gonna say, speaking of that music, man, that's like my favorite Hans Zimmer that I've listened to in a
one
long
of the best Hans Zimmers.
Like
he's got a bunch of good ones.
Dude, that whole score was immersive as fuck and said like every scene that had some sort of like any kind of intricacy to it was set off by that music for me, dude. I was so into the music.
And it shook the theater. I was like, holy
fuck.
There's all the different, I don't know music theory, but there's your slow, just droning beats as we've talked about, but then they're just broken by these percussive rattles of these vaguely oriental sounding instruments, which even before Star Wars, like the sort of idea of synthesizing these different cultures, you have Arab influence, you have Western influence with all the houses and medieval stuff. They say in the book, obviously not in the movie for a little reason, in the book written in the 60s, granted, would they say jihad multiple times. So it's very blunt in that sort of influence. And obviously with the architecture and stuff. But like even that's reflecting the music. Hans Zimmer rejected all his other projects. He was like, I want to do Doom. I've wanted to do this movie my whole life, which is another thing. Just get people who want to make the movie and let them make the movie.
They should have got, I think instead of Hans Zimmer, though, they should have got Daft Punk to do the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, man.
I think Lil Nas X or something.
Lil Nas X.
Lil Nas X, dude. He's doing that sand walk down, just like naked.
Gonna enter a new dance. I'm with you though. The score is incredible. I actually listened to it on the drive home afterwards because I wanted to re-experience
it. Is that on Spotify or is it?
It is, yeah.
I'm probably gonna listen to that.
And what I think too, it's really remarkable where even like you were saying, even the extremely subtle scenes, the tone is set so well and precisely by the music, and the influence of different cultures and different types of making music that are not as familiar in Western music and Western movie scores is so impressive. These microtones, also like the throat singing on the
where they're at the war for the army for the emperor. I can't remember what they're called, like the Soldados or something like that.
Yeah, the Emperor Special Guard.
Yeah,
they're fucking cool.
I forgot. I love me some deep throat singing. One thing about this, this is a little less fresh in my memory than y'all because I'm living in another hemisphere. I saw this movie like 3 weeks ago, and it came out this week for y'all.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which has been very frustrating for me because I've been wanting to talk about this damn movie for almost a month now. I also try not to hype it up for you guys because as soon as I saw it, I'm like, these guys are gonna love this movie.
Andrew and I were talking about that last night. We weren't sure if you liked it or not. We're kind of really hoping that you hated it. We were like
That I
really
didn't?
hoping to have someone that hated it on the path.
Yeah,
but-
we
No,
thought
no,
you
I thought it
hated
was
it.
great. I think here's the thing. I think it was very good, and part 2 will determine if it was great.
Mhm.
But if Warner Brothers just lets Denis do his, if he just lets they just let the filmmakers do their thing, it's gonna be great. There's no reason it wouldn't be. The
Yeah.
story's already written.
He's
So,
turning it into a musical.
yeah. I would
wouldn't
love
hate
to
it.
do
If,
Yeah.
the
if Blade
Sandworm gets an
Runner-
"I Want" song. It's just like I want the spice. It must flow into my belly.
If Blade Runner 2049 wouldn't have flopped, then they probably would have shot both parts back to back without hesitation.
Well,
So-
one thing I'm worried about with this movie has really nothing to do with the movie, and it's will enough people who don't know about Dune see this movie, because it's not Star
Yeah.
Wars.
Okay.
It's
I will say, I think Timothy Chalamet being like so prominent and such an like upstart in the movie world, I think he's bringing in a lot of people who are familiar with his work and a fan, but maybe not necessarily familiar with Dune.
right.
Which
And
I'm
so
excited
It's a
about.
lot
There's
more
also-
accessible, especially with HBO Max having it on there.
Mhm.
But don't, if you watch it on HBO Max, go shoot yourself, okay?
I agree. I think you should
this
see
is
the biggest, loudest
biggest theater you
possible,
can.
but-
We don't have IMAX here, but I went 45 minutes out of my way to get to the theater.
I don't want to
yeah.
go see it in
People just
IMAX.
don't like going to the theater, and so I think it's cool that they have it on HBO Max. I
Yeah.
think it's dumb to watch it at home, but you know,
There's
if
also
it's
still
the
a
way that
pandemic.
you're watching, yeah. If you're actually watching it, like, yeah, that's awesome.
There's still a pandemic.
Yeah.
On my rewatch, I might put it on, but just because again, I don't want to buy tickets. I'm broke right now, and I would have to travel to the like 40.
How much does it cost for movies in Spain?
It's probably about the same, just converted to euros. It's
Oh, okay.
comparable.
'Cause it's relatively cheap here in Fort Smith, but I went at like a matinee. I spent $21 total, and
Oh, dude,
like,
I
that
spent
wasn't bad.
I spent like €3.10 because they had a special like oh, bye Justin.
See you,
Yeah.
Justin.
Sorry, you can't stay. Okay.
Well,
The but they had a special like government hashtag yo boy al cine. I go to the cinema sort of arts funding thing. So
That's pretty cool.
all the movies were $3.10. I wish there'd been more stuff out. I just didn't have time to see a bunch of stuff, but that was I can say I saw Dune for $3. That was nice.
That's
oh
pretty
yeah,
cool.
hell yeah.
I really want to see more of the houses from the universe in the next
Oh,
little
yeah.
bit, because I was
We
really
will.
enjoying seeing like the Atreides and the Harkonnen, whatever the fuck they're called,
Harkonnens.
Harkonnens, and then the Emperor's like League of People. I want to see like more unique style of peoples like that. Like I like the comparisons between the Fremen and like the noble houses. Like the Fremen are completely designed to be around the land and everything like that, and then these noble houses are having to like go through
They're
it.
indigenous. They're Tuscan
Yeah,
Raiders.
I love that. No, yeah, they're Tuscan Raiders. They're fucking. It's cool though. I really liked the scene where they just started fighting, and like they're taking over a lot of the Harkonnens, and then you see behind them, and the Emperors are just like silently falling in behind them, and they turn around and they have to fight them too. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's so fucking dope."
Sinister.
Yeah, dude, sinister as fuck.
Because
the way-
why does the Emperor, what is their beef with Atreides? Are they just trying to cut out competition? I don't remember exactly the motivation. Obviously, I know why the Harkonnens would want to out the Atreides for their competition, but what is the motivation of the Emperor to support the Harkonnens?
I don't think I caught that the motivation.
know yet.
I would assume had something to do with like the Atreides wanting to create peace with the Fremen instead of, just completely taking over the planet and living in one. But I don't know, man. Some colonizer shit.
It is. Well, that's the thing. This whole thing it's a pretty good inversion of colonialist narratives, because it really points out the problem with messianic figures. It also, this is a side note, I think Morrowind stole from Dune too, because it's also kind of has to do with messianic figures and prophecies in a very similar gray way. But the idea that you can intentionally breed Paul Atreides, this Messiah figure, into existence to fulfill a prophecy set forth by these Fremen people, And then it gets into this kind of philosophical question of, well, is he who he is because of the prophecy, or is he fulfilling this because they have the foresight of spice to know what the prophecy is? But then also the Fremen have spice, so they have some sort of foresight. So then it's like, it's kind of a chicken or the egg thing.
Yeah.
But then, which is
a nice way to tilt the classic archetypal storytelling we're used to with these kinds of epics,
because you don't want it to be Avatar Dances with Wolves,
right?
Here's this dude coming in saving the indigenous. It's like, no, here's the colonizer coming and exploiting the local beliefs. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so interesting. And Frank Herbert was so ahead of his time with that.
Yeah,
like,
dude, the 60s.
I feel like culturally we're just now catching up to that sort of awareness of colonialism and those effects. And he was doing this in the 60s like it was nothing.
Yeah, dude.
Sounds like a pussy.
Well, he wasn't. Here's the thing. He was a 4-H kid. He was like a farmer, worked on farms and stuff. He dropped out of college. He did a bunch of investigative reporting because apparently he used to be able to do that without a college degree. And just even as an incorporation of ecology, when the environmentalist movement, the EPA was brand new, and he was writing this book. It's baffling, and again, it makes so many other different. I mean, I hate to say it, even something like Star Wars seem almost trite by comparison.
Yeah, you're watching this and like, oh, this is who Luke Skywalker is based off of. Okay,
yeah.
There's what did you guys think of like the performances and like the
casting?
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
I think the casting had such like A-list people.
Everybody wanted to be in this movie.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that it had such an ensemble and it did so well, because most ensembles it's just kind of gimmicky and like,
it's like Love Actually or something.
I loved Oscar Isaac in this movie, and specifically the scene where he talks to his son in the graveyard. And I would just, because like Oscar Isaac isn't like that old, but like he pulled it off really well, just like this regal wisdom old leader. And I was like, wow, this is next level for Oscar Isaac. Too bad he dies in the movie.
Yeah, that's the best.
I was hoping to get more of him.
Movie though, dude, that shit was so tight. Him and Duncan Idaho's deaths were my two. Like, it's like, fuck, they went out in a blaze of glory.
I know Duncan Idaho's such a bro in this movie.
Such a badass. I loved it, dude. I was so into Jason Momoa in it, dude.
Yeah, does a being Kenobi sacrifice? Yeah, ripped off the Star Wars, huh?
Yeah. Well, like what was badass is like he gets that fucking sword straight in his sternum. You think he's done and they're gonna get through. Motherfucker pulls it out and then wrecks him, dude. I was like, yeah, that's what I needed. I needed that so bad.
Catharsis.
What I can't figure out is why certain critics were saying like, oh, this movie's got no soul, no that's emotion.
Ridiculous.
I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
It's a truly alien society, and you have to view it by their rules. But for example, even what you said, it's the scene. I think it's a different scene, but where Oscar Isaac as Lord Atreides is talking to Paul about basically he doesn't want the mantle of responsibility given to him.
Same scene.
And is that the same scene? And then that's before he even has spice precognition, but he doesn't want his destiny. And his father's basically like, I said the same thing, but this is bigger than you, because Dune is about characters, but it's also about characters over the grand scheme of history, entire families, entire dynasties dying, falling, rising. So I think, and a lot of people, if they don't watch a lot of sci-fi, but especially if they don't read a lot of sci-fi, have trouble, I think, scaling out that far in their storytelling, because science fiction at its best is about humanity as a species over thousands of years, how we evolve.
Yeah.
And I mean, 2001 is like a perfect example of that. But even something like Dune is about the evolution of the human mind.
Yeah, it's 20,000 years from the point we're at right now. Like,
yeah. And that's a hard sell to audiences.
Yeah,
it is. Star Trek's what, 25th century or something?
Something like that. I don't know.
Something like that. We don't watch that tripe. No, I'm just kidding.
I respect Star Trek. I didn't grow up.
Of course, I respect the fuck out of Star Trek.
Yeah, dude.
Just never watched it as a kid.
Miss me on that one.
Well, like 10 minutes in, I was like, wow, this is the detail in this movie is so rich. Like, I can't believe it. Like same for, it gave me like original Blade Runner. Like,
yeah, the details that go into creating just different cultures and these massive scales, like going from like where the Atreides are from with the massive ocean right next to the home to going to like a sand planet and seeing like when they first fly over the city, seeing how fucking big that is. I
yeah,
blew my fucking mind, dude.
We haven't even gotten to the Fremen's underground.
Yeah, I know the Sikhs. I'm so excited to see that. I was kind of hoping we get to that, but I knew it was about to end, and I was like,
yeah, I was like, we're gonna end right before.
Yeah,
he
we're
gets
about to go. It's about to end. It sets up some cool, like, grand scale shit for the next movie.
We'll see, because I wonder how they'll film that. Because in my mind, the Fremen's dwellings weren't that grand. When I read it, it was very cloistered, huddled, survivor kind of mentality. But I wonder with the scale of this movie if he'll go that way or if he'll say big underground caverns, big society.
I feel like with the amount of people that they're insinuating it's gonna be bigger. Bigger scale.
But he doesn't meet, that's distributed through all the planet, so it depends on how big each population is.
Yeah, for sure.
The imagery is so striking. It's such a well photographed movie that it made me think of like when you see concept art for a movie and it looks so fucking beautiful and badass, but the movie doesn't obviously get to that quality. But this time I was like, wow, this looks like concept art brought to life. And I was worried at first that the art direction would be too bleak, and my worries were dashed very quickly into it.
Yeah. I had that same thing of too monochromatic.
Yeah,
just a bunch of tan. But also we're dealing with, and who shot this film? Wasn't it Roger? It wasn't Roger Deakins. That was Blade Runner, right?
That was Blade Runner. I should have done my homework, but I
have IMDb up right now. I forgot.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Produced by, cinematographed by Greg Fraser.
What's he done?
Greg Fraser. He has done Dune. Oh, he did Rogue One. He did Zero Dark 30, Vice. Okay, so he's done stuff.
Yeah, Rogue One.
The editor did Arrival, Sicario, Widows.
Okay.
Which is a flawed but good film. It's just underwritten. It needed another couple passes at the script.
Which one?
Widows.
Oh, okay.
You remember that?
Yeah, Rogue One. That's probably the best thing it's got going for it. It's cinematography.
It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good.
No, well, you can even see that, like when they blow up whatever they first test the Death Star and blow up that planet, and it's scaling out on the desert. I mean, that's Dune. That's straight Dune.
Rogue One's the best Star Wars movie anyway.
Okay.
Another thing.
Let's move on from Star Wars.
Yeah, it's the comparisons are there to be made, but they've been made before. The one I want to go back to the casting real quick, and just Justin mentioning putting Timothée Chalamet in the movie and that getting people. I did think they have a lot of people. I mean, they have Batista, who kills it in a very different role, very sinister villain role.
Excited to see that fleshed out.
Yeah, good. And then you even what is it, Peter Skarsgård or?
It's one of the Skarsgårds. I always
not Alexander. Stellan. It's one of the. I don't know.
So I was like trying to figure out.
I
was like, where have I seen this guy? And in the middle of the movie, I was like, Bootstrap Bill.
No, I didn't even get it. I didn't get it until I looked it up just now. His makeup is so grotesque.
Yeah,
you have him. But one thing you have is Zendaya. I did wonder, are there going to be teenagers wanting to see a sci-fi movie with Zendaya?
Yes.
She's in like 2 scenes.
Yes.
And then, I mean, she's in a lot in part 2.
She has a lot of power to bring teenagers to the movies, her and Timothée Chalamet. So
yeah,
I'm hoping it works.
So hopefully they'll stick around for a buy ticket.
With it being PG-13 too, it's going to be a lot more accessible for people.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it was PG-13.
I didn't.
Well, it doesn't need to be R. It doesn't need to be.
No, it didn't. I think it worked perfectly as a PG-13 film, and I think
it still had blood.
A lot
it was cool.
More people, a lot more younger people. I think will be able to see that and kind of like spawn an obsession like I had when I watched Star Wars.
Well, I'm just worried that they're going to be expecting crazy like Star Wars action and shit.
And there's some pretty insane action scenes.
I
in
know,
the
but
first
it's a
one.
little
That
different.
the siege on the city was one of the most like
It
my
was.
mouth was open the whole fucking time.
Yeah,
Like,
that's an amazing, honestly, kind of a essential now, I feel, battle scene in cinema. Just that
that's fair.
siege.
Yes.
It-
I
It was, yeah, and the way it was shaking the theater, people go see it in theaters, please.
Yeah.
If you haven't
it's
already.
very
Yeah,
immersive.
I don't know why you're listening to this.
Like
anyway.
I'm imagining watching it on my 42-inch TV in my room instead of theaters for the first time,
No.
and it just feels like a slight against God.
Take it
No.
from someone who actually doesn't go see movies in theaters very much. I made sure as a point to go see this one in theaters.
Right.
Just because the scale of it's effective, I'm sure, anywhere, but the scale of it is going to be like needed to see in theater. Like,
Yeah,
it's
this is like I
insane.
brought the biggest crew to the theater probably since Star Wars to see this movie because it's an event, like I said earlier.
It is.
It felt so
It's a
good.
cinema, and I hope people latch onto that. There were not, by the way, there were 5 other people in the theater when I saw it. Now,
Yeah.
granted, this was in the middle of the day, and then like a 4 o'clock showing. Also, this was the English dub, which is less common. Spaniards, you got to read subtitles. I'm sorry. I'll call you out right now. Spaniard, you don't like reading subtitles. You need to get over it. When I watch Spanish movies, I watch it with subtitles.
Right.
When I watch Japanese movies, I gotta be a snob real quick for my amigos listening right now. But so I do wonder how it'll do in other territories. I know it's done pretty well. And it just varies. And I haven't looked at the box office, which normally, box office, whatever, movie's going to make what it's going to make. But I really want them. I'm going to be so heartbroken if they don't film part 2. I think they will. It seems like they will.
No,
but also I wonder if releasing it on HBO Max simultaneously in the US is going to, if that's a lack of confidence and how much that'll hurt it.
No, I think it's, hold on. It's, first of all, one of the Warner Bros. Execs very recently was very cheeky, and they're like, well, are we actually going to get a part 2? And she's like, well, if you watch the film, then it's pretty clear that there's going to be a part 2, because it's called part 1. And it's like, it was like a weird, like she was trying to be cheeky, but it was like falling flat because she's an executive, and it was like, just tell us, dude. But also I can't say putting it on HBO Max was a lack of confidence, because they're doing that with like all their big Godzilla versus Kong, Matrix Revolutions. These are movies that would make shit ton of money, and Godzilla versus Kong did make a good amount of money.
Yeah.
So,
and that's true. And maybe they're confident because they're like, we know this is so good. We want people to do this because it's good for our brand.
I think in the next year, whenever movies are starting to come out, they're going to ease away from doing blockbusters on the HBO Max or straight to stream, and they're going to put maybe smaller films on there, like comedies or smaller scale dramas and indie flicks, things like that. We're not going to get as many things that are like, they're not going to put the next Eternals on the stream, or they're not going to put these giant movies that they have like billions or hundreds of millions of dollars invested into. I think they're going to make it just at the big screen. And I think it'll
go back to how it was. It's like, okay,
I can see them taking
not completely, but there's no
maybe
way.
like a 30-day or 60-day sort of.
Well, that's what they do with HBO Max now, is it's on there for about 30 days.
Yeah.
And then after 30 days, it takes it until their actual release. Like Judas and the Black Messiah, that was on there for 30 days. And then now it's back on there after months of it being off of there. I think they should stick to like the small, like I said, smaller scale stuff to be like direct to stream.
Well, I was talking to the general manager of Cinemark, the Cinemark in our town, and I was asking him about HBO, just general questions that people on the inside would know about, and he said, yeah, it was so controversial that Cinemark for a time thought, nah, we're not going to show any of the movies that are coming to HBO Max the same day. But then they were so desperate for the money that they obliged. But and they did put their foot down for Disney's Raya and the Last Dragon. And then 2 weeks into it, Disney like caved and like did like a deal with them or something. So it's been hurting them, theaters a lot. So, and they're doing everything they can to bring people to the theater. And I think this movie is a spectacle enough to remind people of why they like the movies. So
it is. This movie reminds me why I love the cinema. Going there, smelling the popcorn, all that. It's simultaneously blockbuster and art house at the same time.
Yeah.
But it gets both crowds, I guess. I mean, I think, would I recommend this to people who don't really like science fiction because it's not science fiction-y?
No.
Not
my
really.
mom asked me if my mom called me after I got out of the theater, and I was just like on the way to go grab some stuff, and she was like, how was the movie? And I was like, oh, it was great. She's like, you think I'd like it? And I was like, absolutely fucking not. She's like, just explain a little bit to me. And I explained like the baseline plot. And she was like, yeah, no, I'm out.
Exactly. Well, I did that too. I just talked to my dad, who he's not a fan of sci-fi, but he likes sci-fi. Yeah. And he's watched Star Wars in 2001 and stuff like that. Star Trek. He watched Star Trek a bunch in college. Yeah. And but he was saying he saw the preview and he was just like, not for me. And I did the same thing. I explained kind of the baseline plot, and he was kind of like, I was like, it's a lot. It's not Star Wars. I
don't know. He's a literary man.
Yeah. No, my dad, I think my dad actually, if he gave it a shot, he would enjoy it. My mom wouldn't. My mom would be so confused.
My mom has gotten better about the types of movies and stuff she watches now. Like she's not
the problem
bad about
is
it.
My mom, and she's probably watching this, so hi Tammy, is she will, in the middle of a movie, while a character walks on screen for the first time, blurt out, "Who's that?" Like any of us are supposed to know, which is the most mom thing you can possibly do.
Too many moms do that shit.
How are we supposed to know? They're establishing the character right now. Shut up, Karen.
I stopped seeing someone over that because of the
dude. I couldn't see certain people over their movie taste. One of my friends, I don't know if he's listening to this, one of my comedy buddies started dating this girl, and she was very nice, just kind of casually. And we went out to get drinks or whatever with some people. And she talked to me and said Joker was, quote, the best movie I've ever seen. And I was like, Zahir, you gotta dump this chick right now. That's like, I'm not saying you can't like it, but that's a 7 out of 10. Like at most, like you can't.
Yeah, that's movie. It's ever. Okay, dude. Like, God damn it, we're about to get on a Joker rant.
Person that's only seen 5 movies in their whole life.
That's the thing. It's like you can't. This person lives too much in the real world, and you wear X-Men shirts. This ain't gonna last. Okay.
That is my Joker moment, is her saying that the Joker
really, you get what you fucking deserve.
God, it's okay, man. It's okay. But yeah, no, I would be super annoyed by that if my mom walked in, like Paul Atreides walks in, who's that? I'd be like, Mom, no, absolutely.
He's the Kwisatz Haderach, the Muad'Dib. Yeah, one thing that makes the movie better is you're not having to flip to the back to the glossary of Frank Herbert's made up bullcrap language. I hate that in genre fiction. Do your world building seamlessly. Don't make me. I'm already trying to learn Spanish, dude. I don't want to throw whatever.
Learn this too.
They did.
Use normal words.
They did a good job of explaining things without over explaining. Now there was a few lines of dialogue that I could tell were like kind of forced to like be like, okay, this is what this means. This is important. And it's okay. Some of those, just a few lines stuck out, and I was like, they needed it for general audiences.
And you say that, I don't remember those moments. I'm sure in the theater I noticed them.
There was like 2 or 3.
Yeah, but it's not anything I remember because I glossed over it, because we all know that you've seen the old movie and we've read the book, so it's kind of like, we can gloss over it and get. Because when I watched Lynch's version, I was like, "What the fuck is
going on,
dude?"
Yeah, no.
But do you feel good? Do you feel like general audiences will understand? So I'm really surprised they didn't explain. Maybe it was just too much, the lack of computers. Although it's there, he's using slides and projectors, not PowerPoint.
Yeah, I think it's books. Not. I think it's easy enough for the average moviegoer to.
I think
follow.
So.
I do. I think they didn't dumb anything down, but they definitely added some exposition, and explanations throughout the film.
Plus, if they get a little lost, the rest of the spectacle will speak for itself. and
Exactly.
they'll probably come out of the movie feeling like they got their money's worth.
You'll be like, okay, so here's this guy. He's getting high on spice, and he's going to be some sort of savior figure, and he's seeing visions. You kind of get that.
I want to meet like someone who's like full on like a spice dealer and just a douchebag in the Dune world. Like,
Yeah,
yo, I
his
got
name's
the
Han Solo.
fucking nicest fucking spice, bro. Take a little bit, blast you the fuck off, bro.
All right, well, why don't you audition for that role?
I will, dude. That's gonna be my
You
role.
look like a Harkonnen, okay?
Thank you.
That's
that is one thing else. Go ahead, Adrian.
I was just thinking about how, first of all, Dave Bautista rules in anything. And that was my only complaint, is that he wasn't in the movie as much as I was hoping. So I bet does he have a bigger role in the rest of the?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, I hope so, because just his design alone, I was like, this kicks ass.
Yeah, it's fucking scary.
I was gonna say something about the Harkonnen designs. It's
beautiful.
Is it too much bad guys look evil?
Because they've consumed so much just with their like greed and evilness.
Well, you said it was like they're beautiful, like the scene where they're like the Baron's being healed, and you have the two women singing, and they're like, he's not healed yet. Like those two were like really pretty well done, like beautiful images in the Harkonnen design, and then everyone else looks like a monster. Like I thought that was a cool little.
Because he's got to make another. He has his concubines like a Morton Joe, but then he's disgusting, right? That's probably
he's gross, but he's like way more gnarly looking in Lynch's version. He's got like shit all over his face.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I like the subtlety, like the subtle monstrous features that he has. Like, being, like just like having the cloak down there. But the first appearance of him is like him butt ass naked in the fucking shower thing, which I really want to take a shower in one of those.
Yeah,
that looked really comfortable.
Yeah,
and then watching
taking a
him
shower
like,
at night.
I want to seeing him like fly for the first time, like levitate, is also super intimidating. You wouldn't think a fat guy flying would be that
right. And I don't even remember him being like that, being able to levitate, or
is
he just really tall? I don't even know. It looks really cool. I don't care.
He's got that thing on his back, and the thing that when he activates it, he's able to like float across the room, and him going like face to face with Leto and like explain to him that like everybody's dead.
Yeah.
Then, I don't know. That was probably my favorite scene, is Leto fucking murking everybody in that room. Dude.
Oh yeah, that was BDE moment right there.
That was so badass. Like, rest in peace, Leto, but holy shit, dude.
Yeah. Then one thing that does make it better is that the Harkonnens are clearly in just kind of, I would say, neutral evil. They just don't care.
They're there. They're not there to distinctly create chaos. They're there to benefit themselves.
Yeah, right. But they're just rapacious capitalism.
They are colonized.
But the Atreides are really not good people either, a lot of them. Just as a house.
It seemed like they were the most honorable house that you could, like, I hate to make comparisons, but they seem like the Starks of the fucking Dune universe.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
Like stick to the tradition and loyalty to the king and things like that.
But then there's flaws in that too, in that ideology. And also the Bene Gesserit are manipulating them all to heck.
God damn, I fucking hate the Bene Gesserit so much.
They're evil.
I think that's because I was raised Catholic. Like,
the design is too nun-like.
It scares the shit out of me. Like,
that shit's cool as hell.
I like it, but
we should make a version. Instead of the Gom Jabbar where he has the needle, she has the needle to his neck. She just has a ruler, and she's just gonna like slap him.
That whole test that he has, man, that was that scene. That's exactly how I imagined it from the book.
It's exactly. And by the way, I texted you guys this earlier. If you're watching this after this, if you want to dig more into that scene, Vanity Fair,
I watched it,
has the director breaking down that scene, and it's amazing. Again, the amount of detail they put in just the props and everything. perfectly. It is pretty much exactly how I imagined it.
Yeah.
And also, I think does the book open with that? Is that chapter?
It's like
1?
in the first chapter, first or 2 chapters or so.
Yeah.
It's super early on.
Yeah. It's later in the movie, but it works.
Dude, that fucking scene when Timothy gives her that fucking look when he's finally overcome his pain and it's just him pissed off made my heart like thump. I was like, holy shit, he nailed that.
Paul's arc in this as a character really reflects my feeling of him as a book, because I read this when I was, I think, 15, the same age as Paul. So at first he kind of felt like your typical, and maybe this was even intentional by Herbert, your typical sci-fi kind of, you're a vessel for the reader to put themselves in as the hero
type shit.
And then they just pull that out when he starts getting his family dies and he has to mature so quick and he's having all these visions. So Paul's arc as a character through that book, and there's going to be a time skip, but it's really fascinating because he starts out as not that interesting, like not uninteresting, but somewhat of a blank slate, and then he gets so boring
at first, and then he envelops into someone that's like way cooler than he should be.
Oh yeah,
like, and you start to see his range as an actor, especially in the tent with his mom when he freaks the fuck out.
That seems
they're having a war over me. Blah, 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 blah. When he yells at his mom not to touch him or whatever, like, you did this to me. You're the reason why this. I was like, damn, that was pretty.
He's reserved at times, but his charm seeps out plenty, especially when he like sees someone, because he runs up and hugs like so many different people, which normally as a prince you're supposed to be more reserved than that.
I want a hug like when he hugged Duncan, Idaho. And when he
that's such a beautiful, but that's why it works, because there's such a contrast to his broodingness or just being bored. I mean, it'd be like if you saw Barron Trump run up and hug somebody.
Oscar Isaac's character as a leader I was worried he would be more like a piece. I don't know, just having like ulterior motives or something. But no, he was like, he went.
Dude, like I said,
immediately was like, okay, we got to save these people before the worm gets there. I was like, oh, this guy's cool as fuck.
Dude, like I said, I know you guys haven't watched Game of Thrones, probably don't have any interest in it at this point. But the Stark, like the Atreides and the Stark, there's so many similarities between them.
Do you think what is the probability that George R.R. Martin has read Dune? Is it 99% or 100%?
I'm gonna go with a strict 99%. Let me have a percentage here. But I don't know. I was mad obsessed with Game of Thrones when it came out, and then seeing Leto, Atreides, I was like making hella comparisons to Ned Stark. I was like, this is fucking cool. And even like what happens to him, like similarity to happens to Ned Stark. So I guess, George R.R. Martin came up with it first though, so it's cool.
So is there anything we didn't like about the movie? Because I feel like we've just been prostrate worshiping.
It's too much sand.
Too much sand. Yeah, Anakin would hate this movie.
not enough sex scenes.
Oh yeah.
I was hoping to see some of those worms go at it, so we could see how big those worm babies were. But
if I didn't like anything, it's not anything I can remember enough to like really throw out there. I am kind of riding the dick of this movie a little bit, but
because we needed it. We needed this kind of a movie.
It was despite being Dune, it was a tall, refreshing drink of crisp cold water after a drought.
It was very nice to have that back. I guess my only issue with I can't think of any issues. Paul Atreides was annoying to me at the beginning, but that was about it.
But he is though.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's supposed to be annoying at the beginning. Supposed to be a little titty baby.
Yeah, it makes sense. It is funny that Timothy Chalamet can play a teenager so convincingly, even though he's 30 almost. He's our age. I do think this is a minor thing. At the end, when Zendaya, she said, "This is just the beginning."
Yeah,
dude.
You kind of have to have that though if you're just gonna stop abruptly.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
they even use that in the trailers. Here's the thing: they're trying to I'm sure they're wanting to build this into well, it's already a media franchise, but Warner Brothers is trying to make money probably with stuff other than just movies. I don't know if they want to do like a Dune miniseries on HBO Max, which would be cool. Like go into some background stories.
Too expensive.
Yeah, that's the thing. To do it right, it's too expensive, and I don't know if they'd
like the only reason Mandalorian works is because they invented that new like circular like set thing, which
is that patented? Probably.
Yeah, it is. And James Gunn was asked if they were using that for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and he said, "Nope, my sets are way too big for that thing." So movies can't really use that kind of technology yet because it's for.
I mean, we've got a Amazon Prime making a fucking Lord of the Rings series. It's like almost $1 million an episode to do it. And you have to remember, HBO had Game of Thrones, which like the last 10 episodes of Game of Thrones were like multiple millions of dollars a piece to make a film. And
that was building up to it though. Also, Amazon is Amazon.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they're trying to break into that, but I feel like Amazon's entire mentality is almost antithetical to making art.
I would think that, but they've got some fucking bangers on Amazon Prime.
But it's in Amazon Original or is it stuff they just bought?
Amazon Originals, like Marvelous Miss Maisel's really good.
Okay.
I don't want to watch that.
But when it's Amazon Original, so it's not just stuff they bought. Here's like, is it something that somebody made and then pitched to Amazon? They bought it because they were trying to vend it to different.
It start like season 1 started with Amazon as well.
Okay. Well, but there's a lot of the so-called
that's like every show ever. Like Squid Game was pitched to so many different places. And
exactly.
That's
what I'm saying. Is Amazon just distributing? Because can they cultivate talent? Which if they're trying to like really foot the bill for Lord of the Rings.
Well, some of the stuff.
I don't know.
They purchase the rights to, whether they get it screened for them or before production starts. But then there's original productions too.
Sure.
And Lord of the Rings from the beginning is an Amazon thing.
Right. I know that because I've read the Silmarillion and I don't know how they're going to make it compelling. It's like trying to make a movie out of the genealogy parts of the Old Testament where it's just people begetting people. But there's some cool stuff in there, but also it's like over thousands of years. So you don't, not all your characters carry over. I guess you have different like anthology.
I don't know.
Stuff.
What I'm saying though is that I think if they were to do a Dune miniseries, I think that they could do it well.
If they wanted to.
Yeah, HBO surprisingly has a fuck ton of money to be able to.
They do
more of this stuff.
HBO Warner.
If you want a clear example, again, I'm going back to Game of Thrones. The Battle of the Bastards is the largest on-screen battle, like medieval battle ever. Like even beats like Helm's Deep and all of these other giant battles they've had, and they were able to do that for an hour-long television show. So it's a lot.
And I've heard a lot about that. But one of the things is it probably is infeasible if they want to do it right. Although Dune, again, you can have stories in Dune that are just talking and stuff. And again, I know there's books and there's side books. And then Frank Herbert died relatively young in his early 60s, I think. So he wasn't able to finish it, and his son finished a lot of it, the stories. So Dune's a little complicated in that regard. Fun fact, Dune does get compared to Lord of the Rings because it probably did for sci-fi world building what Lord of the Rings did for fantasy world building.
Yeah.
Tolkien did not like Dune, but I think one of the reasons he didn't like it is Tolkien has Christian morality and Dune's morality is much more gray, which is and also it's very critical of messianic narratives. That's the entire point of the series, is how religion is corrupting and potentially. So I can see why Tolkien would philosophically disagree with Dune's points.
Yeah, because he's a fucking bitch.
When I was going into the movie, I was hoping one of my biggest hopes was that he would make the entrance of the worms feel scary and big, and it did. Like all you see is the rumbling of the sand, and I got like a shiver down my spine with the way that it was executed. So I was very enthralled.
Sandworms, and I wonder how it's going to look when we see sandworm riding, but sandworms they can be so corny if you don't pull them off right.
Yeah,
Even
for
if I
sure.
describe that to you, I was like, "There's gonna be giant worms in the sand." You'd be like, "What? Like SpongeBob?"
Yeah.
Alaskan bull.
It's an Alaskan bull. What is that? This is more like a Arizonan bullworm.
I was thinking Serengeti.
Yeah.
I don't think Sahara is the desert. I don't know, man. I don't know my fucking deserts.
Serengeti is plains.
Yeah, well, you're playing.
So when the worm stops in front of Paul at the end, does it sense Paul's power or what?
I think it sensed that there's a fucking rock in front of it and they can't go under it. And then 2, they also did the thumper. The thumper
Yeah,
was
but it had stopped before that thumper had done its thing.
yeah, but I think that it just realized that there was a giant fucking rock that they were on in front of it.
I think that was it. I don't think the worm sensed Paul. I think it was that, and that was just cinematically a look how imposing this is, but they made it scary moment sort of thing.
Okay.
Man, I hope that they figure out that the Fremen have sex through their hair like an avatar.
No, they don't.
Was there anything there's not any Freudian undertones between Paul and his mom, are there?
I don't think there's supposed to be.
Okay.
I think she wants to fuck him. And it sounds like who wouldn't want to fuck the savior?
Maybe because Rebecca Ferguson is very beautiful and kind of young looking, and also Timothy Chalamet is like 30.
There's a point where they are changing and he is taking his shirt off and his mother is like staring at him admiringly. And I can't, it's almost hard to tell if it's like a sexual adoration or just like adoration of like, I made this.
Yeah.
I think it's there is that sort of, he is, because this is in its own way, very weird way, a coming of age story.
Yeah.
But not in the way that Dazed and Confused is.
Really?
Completely different. A Richard Linklater's Dune. But that's the thing I like about the sandworms. I get older, they stay. I don't know. But
you should tell that one on stage.
Yeah, that'll hit. That's not too niche, but
we fucking bullworms tonight, boys.
that hasn't been overquoted to death already. But no, I think she is like realizing him coming into his manhood.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And he's gonna inherit things could go south, but he's gonna inherit the Atreides mantle and everything that entails.
I see where Adrian's coming from too, though. Like,
I get it.
When she gets dressed and then turns around and she's
not
starting
just that. It's just like the way she's like, it's an intimate relationship, not anything weird, but you know.
Well,
sometimes
also
things get kind of weird in fantasy, and the way she's like sitting at his feet when she's like upset and stuff. I was like, this is very like classical.
They are based on medieval families, so
yeah.
You know Well, I also think if you're from a royal family and your son or your dad is a duke and he's off doing duke stuff and duke bureaucracy and duking it
Dad
out.
is a duke.
Dad's a duking it out. And so, yeah, your mother is in charge of the household doing stuff. So you have a close relationship.
Let's just hope that Paul Atreides doesn't break both his arms in the next film.
Yeah.
That's a Reddit thread for y'all to look up.
Hey.
But Reddit classic bonafide.
Yeah, we all looked at Reddit in 2013. That's right.
I still look at Reddit every day. I'm not proud of it, but
every now and then, man, Reddit's a shit show nowadays.
So it's the internet.
Reddit is overcome by normies. Only true patricians watch this podcast, so I know that y'all are probably on Reddit half the day anyway.
So
Paul Atreides for Smash Bros.
Yeah, if they can put him in Fortnite,
put him in Smash.
I got this poster of Dune. It just says Dune begins in Spanish. Comienza. Dune.
Oh, that's cool.
And I got it at the theater, and I thought of putting it up, but then I'm like, if I put this up, any woman I bring up will dry up quicker than Arrakis. So
unless they're fucking cool,
it's okay. I've got
not that cool. Well, the thing is, I don't have anything. I don't have any other decorations. It can't be my only decoration. is a single poster. It needs to be balanced by. I need to get some plants or something.
I need to get that Anthony Bourdain like charcoal painting I got framed so I can put it above my bed. So then instead of drying up, they do the opposite, man.
They would be like, you like tasty meals.
Everyone in
You
this
like
movie is beautiful.
Meals.
You like dead men? I mean, what?
Is he dead?
Oscar Isaac, beautiful. Jason Momoa, beautiful. Zendaya, beautiful. Like everyone's beautiful.
Rebecca
No wonder it's a
Ferguson.
good looking movie.
Yeah, except Batista, I guess.
Yeah, I'd still hit it.
Zendaya, she pulled off the like alluring dream woman very well. I think she has a very like complicated face to me, and
But
man, I think it worked really well.
well, I think her
Denis-
Term complicated face is like the most,
just like very like
backhanded compliment ever.
no. I'm saying like
there's
her
a
emotion,
nuance to it.
yeah,
His
nuance.
face is
Yeah.
weird, bro.
And there's she doesn't
Alluring.
she's beautiful and alluring, but not in a Hollywood photoshopped or modelly
Yes.
way. She fits that maternal role very
Woman
well.
of the earth.
Woman of the earth.
So I thought that was a good casting decision. At first, I was like, did they just put her in it for star power? But
She's been killing
no,
it.
she did a good job. I do feel bad for the Zendaya stans that went to see it expecting her to be
Yeah,
at the whole
12
movie.
minutes of a 2 hour and 35-minute movie.
Yeah.
If
But
that
I was wondering, man, it's probably going to leave off right as we meet her, and then that's what happened.
I saw the
That fight at
worst
the end was cool,
headline
though.
ever. It was a BuzzFeed headline, and it was like, Timothy Chalamet totally rips Zendaya, his bestie Zendaya, for dating Tom Holland, and like used the word bestie in like the title. I was like, who gives a flying fuck?
I didn't think BuzzFeed was still a fucking thing.
they laid off a bunch of their staff. It turns
like
out this entire
Timothy's
internet
jealous.
model of never paying anybody ever anything is actually not a good way to run the economy.
I do feel, yeah. Timothy and Tom Holland both look young as fuck for their ages. Tom Holland looks 18 though, and still
Okay,
somehow.
That we kind of skip movie news segment. That Uncharted movie is going to be weird.
Yeah,
I
it
think
will be.
it's bad.
It looks. I don't have a lot. Of
I
hopes.
just-
I don't care
yeah.
about it. Yeah, I have.
It still might be the best video game movie by low standards.
No,
You know what'll be fun is getting drunk at my house and watching it on my TV.
the Mario Bros movie, the original one, is the best super video game movie. So
Fair enough.
I like the DUNE movie where they go first person for the last 10 minutes of it.
I unironically kind of like that
It's
scene
the
just
shit.
for the
It's so
schlockiness of
cool.
it.
It's so cool. I love it.
there's
And then
actually
that shitty Prince of Persia movie where they casted Jake
Oh,
Gyllenhaal as a Persian dude.
That was weird.
Like Jesus.
yeah,
the
dude,
one-
that came out in 10th grade. I remember giving it an 8 out of 10 when I was 15.
I think I went
You
with
idiot.
that movie.
You should be vasectomied.
I should have. But there's a cut that someone unearthed recently of the Mario Bros movie that has a bunch of footage that was cut out from the theatrical edition, but it's only in VHS quality. But I have the rip of it. I'm gonna watch it soon.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
I bet it's much darker.
Well, the Twin Towers get destroyed in that movie. Which I forgot about that when I showed it to my sister, and we were like in tears.
Where's my pizza?
Yeah.
I would watch that again. I haven't seen that in fucking years.
Oh yeah, I need to say a little something. My friend Scotty Leonard, he's a filmmaker, and he put together a hour-long film of 1-minute experimental short films, and I was featured in this film, and it was in Albuquerque theaters this weekend.
Oh, awesome.
So people go check that out. I'll put the link in the description if you want to see that film. A lot of people contributed to it. My girlfriend Parker's in the short film if you want to see her. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It was like her face was on, a big screen this weekend. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
pretty dope, man.
Flower Hour, I believe it is called.
Yeah, if we're plugging stuff, I have nothing to plug because my life is in shambles right now.
I just have to plug all the holes in this sinking boat right now. That is my life.
So what else?
I'm good.
I
don't know. I got a show in like 2 weeks if you want to get drunk and watch me tell jokes.
Yeah, if you live in Spain, you know.
Yeah, if you live in Spain, but that's it. That's not a big deal.
I'm going to be taking cute pictures for my Instagram on Halloween.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I haven't posted on Instagram in a long time. There hasn't really been a whole lot in the news lately, but I don't know, man. I enjoyed Dune. I hope to see. Next big thing will be French Dispatch and Last Night in Soho for me.
The spice must flow.
The dead speak.
Oh, I got spice for cheap, 2 for 10, 3 for 20. No fucking deals, bro. You just hit me up, hit my line, hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever the fuck you got, bro. I take Venmo.
So the French Dispatch was supposed to come out this weekend. Apparently it was a very limited release and they're doing a slow expansion. I believe it's because theaters don't want Timothée Chalamet being in two movies on the same weekend. I legit think that. And I think that's stupid, but whatever. So hopefully I'll see French Dispatch soon.
I'm hoping French Dispatch comes next weekend. So on Saturday morning, I can go see that.
I still got to see that. I got to see The Last Duel. I'm going to watch Halloween Kills and Titan. I got some shit to watch. Man.
Yeah, it's nice having all the quality shit come out in a month, really.
Yeah.
I need to see Last Duel too.
I still got to watch some spooky movies. Parker and I are going to watch something tonight. Probably Coraline or like, I don't know.
Coraline.
I don't know.
Coraline's great. I'm going to watch this thing called, I can't remember the name of it. It's like a Jim Jonesy type horror movie that I saw that's on HBO. I gotta remember the name of it. But it was I saw it on my TikTok and I was like, that looks fucking dope. Also, there's another movie called Demon I'm probably gonna watch this week, which is a Polish film about a dude who somehow attracts a Jewish like demonic ghost and then slowly transforms into it during a wedding. And it was directed by someone who died right after that. So that's the only film that they really got.
So when magazines put out exclusive shots of movies to like, it's like, oh, here's your exclusive look at this movie. A lot of the shots or photographs they use make the movie look horrible. I've noticed like they did it for the Resident Evil movie and like the picture they took looked like a movie from like a machinima, like a fan film on YouTube or something. Dude, the one they just put up for Spider-Man is so bad.
Yeah, the one where Doc Ock's chasing him.
That looks horrible.
Oh shit.
You know what it reminded me of?
What's that?
Worst mistake of my life.
If you're just listening, that was Peter Griffin being chased by a plane vis-a-vis North by Northwest.
Is it North by
ironic
Northwest
meme these days?
You sure it's North by Northwest, Scott?
Yeah, that's that one's good. That's one of my but not one of my top.
Family Guy, I agree. Greatest show ever.
No, I'm saying Hitchcock.
Oh yeah, Family Guy, favorite Hitchcock movie by far.
Same here.
But wait, have y'all? Okay, I guess we'll get into spooky movies for the next cast. I was about to start talking about stuff.
Nah, dude.
But
it's spooky.
Okay, well, I guess look out for our Halloween cast next time. And then I also want to do Annette some point, which is from this year, and I still want to do Evangelion.
Scott, get on the Evangelion train. So
I know I've been so busy. I still have stuff to do.
Yeah. We'll get around to it.
Because I am down for a fucking. I need to rewatch it.
Got to do that with Sumner, and then Sumner and I and Brennan are gonna do Sopranos finally. I think this week. So people listening, look out.
Are you guys gonna do Many Saints of Newark too?
Yeah, it's gonna be like a Many Saints plus Sopranos. 'cause I
Tight.
watched those for the first time.
Alrighty. Well, it was fun talking with you guys.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for listening in.